Hello everybody, Andrew Blake from the digitalaudiomanual.com. Today we're going to start talking about the trigger pads on the all-new Halion Sonic 7 in Cubase. But before we start, are you looking for something more complete in your online search for answers? Something that brings you all the tips, but then fills in all that missing space around them? Something that is built from the ground up with the purpose of removing confusion and all those other negative things that you experience in the winding road of endless information? Presenting the all-new Digital Audio Manual Preferred. This is a series of videos that will help move you along the path from wherever you are now to a higher level of knowledge and understanding. The whole concept is based on taking the vast majority of information that's available in the manuals of some of your favorite programs like Cubase or Wavelab or many others that are in the works, and then presents them to you in a fresh new way. All these videos are laid out like the manual, the subjects are titled like the manual, the information is searchable like the manual, all with one gigantic difference. Everything is demonstrated in real-time situations. It gives you examples and processes to learn and use all the information. And you're going to see, just like so many have done already, it's literally a treasure chest of hidden and rarely explained features and functions, all leading you step by step from the beginning to end, empowering you with a new language set in the programs you may have already been using for years, or even if you're just getting started. So if this sounds interesting to you, come and be part of a clear path to a better way to learn. Click on the link below to get access, and I will see you on the inside. All right, let's get started. So for those that have made the move on to Cubase 13, and then go to open up your familiar Halion, the little plugin that's been in Cubase forever, you now find yourself looking at this Halion Sonic 7, which is quite different from the original little plugin that we had. One of the tools and features that we are given in this is these trigger pads down here in the lower left. If I go to this preset called Strobe Lights, these pads light up with kind of an orange color. And if I click on one of these pads, I get these basically sonically beautiful sounds played with arpeggios or other kinds of things. I can hit any one of these pads. We basically get these just beautiful sounds that really show off the instrument. Another variation on that, and in fact is a variation. Let's say we go to this preset that says Skinny. The pads go back to their kind of dark gray color, but above the pad we get this little orange line. And this tells us that we have a variation. If I hold a key down on my keyboard, and then I hit one of these variations, I get a variation. So let's find out what these things are all about. The first button to learn about, there's a little circle on the right, and this stands for the bypass. So if your pads have arpeggios on them or different things, and you hit this bypass button, now you have a deactivated pad. I can click on it, it lights up, but nothing happens. The bypass button again, we have sound. The next thing to understand is the concept of a trigger note. If you have a MIDI keyboard hooked up, or you use this keyboard that's on the synth itself, if you right-click on any pad, you have the option to assign a trigger note, which gives you a menu to another menu, and you would pick the note you want. You can also right-click and say, learn the trigger note. At that point, you can just hit your keyboard and it will assign that note. But you have this other option down here on the bottom. Over on the right, it says use the default trigger notes. If I hit that button, you can see these keys light up in blue. Now these keys are playing the pads. As I hit a key, you can see the pad light up. And now these keys are no longer hitting just regular notes like they would up here. If I turn this default trigger note off, then these notes are just regular notes again. Whenever you put a trigger note in, so it says right here on the first pad, A with a -2, which is this key right here. As an example of reassigning these, let's say I hit this pad and I right-click, and I say learn the trigger note. I'm going to hit a note way up high on the keyboard on C1, which initially hits the sound, but now when I hit that key again, it plays that pad. If I go back and hit this use the default button, it overwrites those original keys, but if I turn that off, I can see that I have a blue key here now. If I want to get rid of those, I can right-click and tell it to forget the trigger note, and then it just goes back to a pad with no trigger note. So we have chords on these pads. As it stands right now, it says D minor, G minor, that were set up with the preset. Some basic ways of reassigning these to different chords. One option, if you actually have a keyboard connected, you can right-click on a pad, go down to the option that says snapshot the chord. Pad will blink. I'm going to put my fingers on my keyboard and hit a chord. What happened on the virtual piano is I put blue keys on the notes that I hit. If I come back now and hit this pad again, it takes the snapshot off. Now when I hit the pad, it plays that arpeggio with those new notes. And it shows on the blue notes what I actually pushed down on the keyboard. Another basic option, if you have any chords up on your chord track, for example, up here I have an A minor ninth, I can actually drag that right over to any pad I want, drop it on the pad, and now that chord is assigned to this pad. Again, it shows the keys that it's playing. As we said, when you hit this keyboard, you see these default trigger notes. You can change these to something else by just reassigning these pads to whatever trigger note you want. Then if you right-click on the pad, you have the option to say save the trigger notes as the default. From that point on, whatever you've created for your new trigger notes, that's going to show up when you hit this default button. Besides assigning chords, you can assign single notes to these, which allows you to assign key switches. Key switches allow you to bring realism into your sounds. For example, if I play this bassoon sound, and I use one of the key switches that adds an ornament to it, I get this kind of a thing. Or this kind of a thing. You can go to any of these pads, right-click on them like we did, go to the snapshot chord option, and then if you hit one of these key switches, even on this virtual keyboard, it'll record it right onto the pad. Click it again to deactivate it. Now I can hit these pads, and as you can see up in this window, they will actually change the articulations of the sound. If I turn on these default trigger notes again, I can just use my regular default trigger notes, record MIDI notes, where I have the part playing, but then I have the low MIDI notes hitting the trigger notes, and you get things like this, allowing the pads to change the articulations. Some of these modules offer the ability to have variations. If we look at this beatbox, at the top, it has these numbers 1 through 8, and these stand for different variations. If I hit number 1, I get a beat. If I hit number 2, I get a slight variation, and the instruments change a little bit. And I have 4 of these in place on this particular beatbox. If I go to number 5, it's blank. It doesn't have any beat put in it yet. If I go down to the pads, right now the first 4 variations are in place. If I hit the first pad, it changes to this first variation. If I hit the second pad, it changes to number 2 up here, and it just keeps going down the line. I look at these variation pads. Above them there's a little line that shows that those are active. These pads on the bottom have no variations, and there's no little line above them. But if I go to variation 5, and I come down to this pad and I right-click on it, I say snapshot that variation, now puts a little line above this pad. If I hit this variation on the end, number 4, I hear number 4. And if I hit this bottom pad, it switches to 5, which right now has no information. If I want to clear these variations, I can right-click again and say clear the variation. If you want to rename these pads, right-click on them, and you have the option to rename it. You can also take these pads and drag them right onto the track. If I take this first pad, click it, and drag it onto the track, and then continue with any of these other pads, do the same thing, and then I can play it right as a track. Once you've dragged these onto a track, you could just as easily drag these onto a chord track, then create chord tracks out of the pads. And then the last thing I want to show you, as far as building chords on these pads, say I go to this first pad, right-click on it, and I say, clear the chord. Previously, I showed you if I play it on my keyboard, you don't even need to do that. You can right-click on this pad and say, snapshot the chord, and then I can just go about clicking any notes I want. They turn blue when I click on them. I can kind of build my chord one note at a time. And I can see all the notes are in blue that have built the chord. Go back and hit the pad. Now those notes are assigned to this pad as a chord. And I can change to any other pad. And back to my original. So have some fun with that stuff. All right, it's going to wrap it up for today. As always, if you haven't already, click the link below this video to learn how you can get access to the all-new Digital Audio Manual Preferred. It's the clear, step-by-step solution showing you not only the tips, but all the secret and typically never talked about features that'll take you to a higher level of using your software. If you've been searching for an all-in-one solution to take you from start to finish and learning Cubase and Wavelab and other music software, this is exactly what you've been looking for. So click on the link below and come and be part of the clear path to a better learning experience. So today we looked at Halion Sonics trigger pads, talked about the difference between the ARPs and the variations, saw what the bypass button did, we saw how to assign and forget trigger notes, we saw how we can assign the chords to pads, pads to key switches, take snapshot variations, how to rename the pads, how to bring out MIDI parts from the pads. Then we talked about how we can build chords one note at a time on these pads. And we will continue to look at all these different features and functions in Cubase. As always, it's great to have you guys here, and I'll see you on the next video.